are sometimes a little afraid to come in. There are a lot of new norms coming in. So I thought, we should get a few experts from the field to come and talk about employee, health and safety, and obviously the new buzzword of 2022, sustainability. So let me quickly start by introducing myself. I'm the moderator. My name is Ashwin Bhadri. I'm the founder and CEO of Equinox Labs. I'm an international speaker on food safety. I also work as a national advisor to FSSAI. I've worked with about 15 different initiatives of FSSAI, and I've authored 2 books in the same space of FSSAI and food safety. And I have advised over 500 companies on compliances and EHS policies. Next is Mr. Tushar Bhattacharya. He is the senior AD of EHS at CBRE. He has over 30 years of experience, and he has obtained safety clearance for 2 international airports and several high-rise buildings. He is responsible for EHS management and statutory implementation in India. He's also responsible for conducting due diligence, HSE audits, drafting policy and procedures. He's a subject matter expert in fire safety and emergency management. He's also an expert and contributor to the National Building Code of India, right, which is, I think, a very, very comprehensive document. He's also served in various sectors, including Government of India, defense services, aviation industry, and manufacturing, and R&D. And he's also obtained certification in government procedures and policies in EHS and fire safety. Next, we have Shashi Ray, who is the ACM at Godrej and Boyce. He has 15 years of experience, and he currently leads the team of consultants at Godrej Green Building Consulting Services, also called GBCS. He also directs projects for both green building certification as well as testing and commissioning services. He is an IGBC accredited professional, BE certified energy manager, and GRIHA trainer. And later I'm going to find out what that is. He's also worked on iconic projects such as Plant 39X, which is India's first IGBC certified net zero project. Right. Next is Dr. Ajay Sati. He is a health advisor. He's has got 35 years of experience across various organizations, supporting them in their occupational health projects. He is currently a health advisor to a global MNC and a physician to an Indian one. He is a member of the Royal Society of Public Health, UK. He has a lot of experience in managing employee health in greenfield as well as brownfield projects. He is also a member of Indian Association of Occupational Health and International Commission of Occupational Health. I'm just going to quickly stop my screen share here. So, gentlemen, welcome to this webinar. The reason we're having this is there's a lot of new things happening in the space of EHS sustainability. A lot of people have a lot of doubts in this space. So I thought, why not get together, the top experts in the field, and we can clarify some of those doubts. So one of the first things I'm going to start with, and Dr. Sati, I'll start with you on this. So EHS and sustainability go hand in hand, right? So to ensure a compliant workspace, what are some of the essential measures do you feel that need to be followed?
So, what we believe is that your personal workspace, as well as your entire office, has the power to positively or negatively influence your overall health and mental well-being. If the place is unhealthy, then it is stressful as well, and it makes it difficult for the employees to concentrate, and it also increases healthcare costs indirectly. So what generally is done is you have to reorganize the office, clean up the office, actually clean up what we learned during the pandemic times. In fact, just to tell you, the office desk today has got 400 times more bacteria than a toilet seat. That is the state of affairs. If you don't keep your desk clean, then we need to stock up appropriate things to munch, which means basically healthy foodstuffs, if at all the company is providing. And if company is not providing, encourage people to eat healthy stuff. Make the desk as your personal space, like you can have your family photographs, you can have a plant or something like that to make it more, conducive for you to be able to work. And last but not the least is the entire office should be such that it should be movement friendly. That means one should be able to easily move. And in some of the Western countries, they say that it has to be disability compliant as well. That means if somebody is physically challenged, he or she should be able to move around, easily.
Mr. Tushar, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely right what Dr. Ajay has said. See, the post-pandemic era. So right now we are maneuvering through the endemic era. Almost the impact and this infection positivity rate has gone down in India. So what Dr. Ajay said, I am absolutely aligned with him only. See, the new wing of EHS is added now. That is called employees' well-being and mental health. If you see the new charter by OSHA's published in the month of March 2022. So the conventional EHS procedures like environment, health and safety has extended with an added arm that is called employees' well-being and safety. And as he said, that a considerable period of our time we are spending at offices. So the office atmosphere, office environment, the safety culture actually influencing not only our behavior but also our health aspect also. So in that case, what Dr. Ajay said, I am completely aligned with him.
Especially, what are your thoughts on what are essential measures at the workspace for
So, when the concept of sustainability actually started, the main focus was only on reducing energy and water consumption. But I think the events like pandemic has kind of opened up the eyes of everyone. Now people have started understanding the importance of occupant health and safety. And therefore, apart from looking at energy efficiency, water efficiency, now even occupant health and safety measures are given due importance. So apart from implementing various strategies to reduce your energy consumption through efficient equipments or through efficient water fixtures, now the people are focusing on having adequate ventilation, good daylight, good ergonomic spaces, acoustic control, because all these elements kind of add to an occupant comfort. People have been staying at their comfort of home for past 2 years, and to bring them back to office, the kind of environment we need to offer need to resonate to what they have been experiencing for past 2 years. So I think, yes, these are the times wherein both these, now we call it as a new term. Basically, it is EHS and S. So it is being looked at as an integrated manner.
To add, Shashi here, see, Ashin, the pre-pandemic era, when the leaders, EHS leader, used to do the workplace safety plan, we used to do few things only, like identifying the risk, the EHS compliance, program processes. Then we are educating the employees, then enforce and evaluate the system and processes, and we are prepared for the other injuries and all. Now, apart from all these regular things, the new things added is a employee's well-being and the mental health as well. Like, as I said, the most of the companies are now looking for the internal air quality check. Now we are getting requests for the water quality check. So people are started asking what is 10500. Okay, so that new concept, this is actually the new normal EHS things has taken place after this post-pandemic.
Something that I've seen, and this is actually in pre-pandemic, when this body called FSSAI, which is the Food Safety Standard Authority, was formed, the idea was it was for food safety, right, and security of the food. But over the last 6-7 years, they've actually got into nutrition, they've gotten into well-being. There are initiatives which are, they're coming out, which are designed for corporate offices, which never in the past, no government has ever laid down guidelines like best practices for corporate offices. Because at that time, the CEO, Mr. Pawan Agarwal, he was a visionary. Right? So his idea was, hey, we are talking about packaged food. We have the restaurants covered under the licensing and all, but people eat in their offices. right? So he actually wrote a book. Actually, he hired a bunch of experts to write a book, including people from WHO, people from India. From India, I was one of the representatives as well. And we wrote a book called the Orange Book, which is a guide to safe and nutritious food at the workplace. So there was a larger umbrella called SNF, which is Safe and Nutritious Food overall, which is Eat Right India was the campaign, the front end campaign, right? So we got a lot of celebrities pulled in. But the main idea was that you have to not only look at safety, but you have to also look at well-being, and that is physical and mental, right? So even in that book, they talk about things like replacing chips with fruits in offices, and they've actually, we hired I think about 4 or 5 top-class nutritionists to come and add value over there as well. It goes into what kind of food lactating mothers should have in office, and it goes into a lot of detail, right? Which was
Absolutely.
fantastic, and it was the first of its kind, right? Which was, I think, in WHO appreciated the effort that FSS had taken. So
Yes.
there's a lot of different bodies who are now focusing on this, and a lot of corporates in the past, even if they have not looked at it, this year I think everybody's going to be looking at not just safety. Safety is now just become the step one. Now they're looking at, hey, what else can we do to make teammates feel safer and give them a nutritious environment, a holistic environment, right? So EHS is a very wide topic, right? So how can organizations stay updated with what are the new happenings in the industry and how can they be implemented? So Tushar, I would love your insights on.
Yeah. See, uh, as you said, EHS is a vast subject and is a very dynamic subject actually. And the things happening at US today, the things happening at Europe today, that may not be happening in India today. Okay. So I will not say that they are steps ahead, we are steps behind. It is not like that. But how we are keeping update the latest EHS concept. First of all, there are a few EHS bodies, global bodies are there, like you have NIBOSH, we have OSHAS, we have IOSH, and NFPA, other things are there. So we keep on tracking their movement, how they're doing. Second thing is that UN Charter on EHS and sustainability, there is a platform actually. From there, we are getting the updates and newses and all. Apart from that, we are largely following the OSHAs, what the OSHA's new things are coming, how it is going to implement. Apart from that, the statutory things, how the changing, now what is the new laws, statutory acts, rules, regulations and coming, we are following that. But the guiding documents for all of us is basically the OSHA's guiding documents, sometimes NIBOSH as well, and IOSH on the risk management front. That is how we are updating ourselves with how it is going on the Western world.
Fantastic. Sashi, what are your thoughts? How do you stay updated on the latest?
So basically, whenever we embark on a journey of EHS and sustainability, I think one of the first aspect is to have a well-defined framework. And when we start following the framework like ISO 18,001 or 45,001, it helps us to understand what needs to be done and who needs to do it. And what organization has to do, how the team has to be set up. So that is one of the guiding document for any organization to start with the journey towards EHS&S. And then after that, being from a consulting background, so we have a reference to various design standards, like ASHRAE talks about thermal comfort or air conditioning standards, or we have NBCs, we have ECBC, we have NFPA, and many such standards provide us with the guiding requirements of what standard needs to be met. Apart from that, yes, various local bodies are available which keeps on publishing the requirement, because in India, across the states, the requirements are quite dynamic, and even the CFO requirement or MOF requirement keeps on changing state by state. So I think it is very important that a periodic audit needs to be done from an authorized agencies, so that you keep updated about what all are the legal requirements, what all documentation needs to be maintained, and accordingly we can have a well-defined process.
Fantastic. Dr. Sati, what about you? How do you stay updated with the latest?
Yeah, as EHS, H used to be always a very small letter. Probably you have to see the H with a lens that has slightly improved in stature. But in health, what we do is we stay updated by attending global conferences, basically, and get some idea as to what is happening there. As Mr. Bhattacharya pointed out that, it is not the question of we one step behind or they one step ahead, but it is just to, kind of share thoughts as to what is happening in the field. However, even if we kind of learn something from these global conferences, getting it implemented in organizations anywhere in the world is not easy, because occupational health is, uh, meaning employee health, has never received the kind of attention that it should have had. And it becomes all the more difficult in developing countries. You will be shocked to know that occupational health access to employees, even in the developed countries like UK, stands at around 50%. That means there are 50% of the employees who still have no access to employee health. So they are on their own. In India, because of the unorganized sector being almost 80, 85, 90%, you can imagine what is the state of affairs in our country. So what we do is, after we have acquired some gyan knowledge from here and there, we have to try to influence the management that, there are certain things that if you implement, it will be beneficial to the employees. Of course, that has changed slightly with the COVID. As I said, H has increased in stature, but then there are again, things like costs are a concern. Shortage of occupational health doctors, those who can actually run those programs, are an issue. Then there are fears on the part of the management whether these interventions will work or not, even if they are evidence based. So these are the kind of things that we kind of face, despite the fact that uh, we 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 are updated at times, but it is very difficult to update the organizations where you work.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
hoping
Ashwin, there is a
is-
classic example I'll give you.
um,
When this pandemic has broke out in India, is a November 2019. We are clueless. What is this pandemic? Because the globe has faced last pandemic is 1918 in the name of a Spanish flu. After a century, 2018, this thing has come, this corona. Then we are clueless actually what to do. Suddenly, the case reported from Kerala in India, November 2019. Slowly, the rate is going up. We are clueless actually initially, being a very big organization, what to do, what not to do. So suddenly we started referring the website, which was never referred by us, that is a CDC website, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So we got knowledge from them. Then the WHO website, different website. So that is how we are keeping update about the latest news, preventive and precautionary measures. So that is how what Dr. Shati has mentioned. Like this, how we are keeping updated for different sites and other things also.
excellent. So I'm hoping platforms like the one we are on right now also become a source of gathering knowledge from multiple people, as we grow. And
Yeah.
that's one of the main reasons I wanted to have this, a webinar, because today so many people have so many questions. While they can always go read about it somewhere, hearing it from people who are practicing it on ground has a lot more authenticity, a lot more practicality to it, which a CDC website may not be able to provide, or WHO website.
Absolutely. See, during the pandemic, I was reading one journal. The sites like WHO site is the most visited site during the pandemic. See, the CDC sites, I believe only doctors are referring those sites, not the general people. But like us general people, we started looking for the CDC website, what is going on, what is the new thing, what is the preventive measures. So that is how the global thought we expert and implemented in the local atmosphere.
Excellent. So, Dr. Sati, I think you touched upon a point. Sorry, somebody says, yes, sir.
Yeah. I had just one point. I think
Yeah.
Dr. Ajay spoke about the health and the nutrition part. I think it's It's a very valid point. We were consulting for one of our project, and we were actually struggling to get a nutritional value for various ingredient that goes into the cafeteria. And imagine, the people in India, in our country, what they're eating, they're not actually aware about nutritional values. So that is some kind of an eye opener for us, that most of these might be allergic. People from outside, they ask whether they have nuts and the other aspects which are allergic in nature. While here we don't actually kind of care. But now, yes, with such disease coming in, people are wanting to know what is the nutritional values, and it is kind of gaining importance.
So FSSAI has actually now made it mandatory, if you have a central license or more than 10 licenses, that even in restaurants or cafeterias, you will need to display calorific count and serving size. So in the last 2 years, we've gotten tens of thousands of requests for this, because normally only food manufacturer, right? So if you have biscuit, if you have anything that's sealed,
Right.
that is a mandatory thing. So that has been coming to us for ages. But in the last 2 years, we've done over 2 lakh recipes by calculations. We've developed a software called Nutripedia to actually just serve that purpose. So that was an innovation that was actually, the industry put on us, saying, hey, we need to calculate this. We obviously can't afford to test it. Can you calculate it for us? And we were actually forced to innovate, which was a very interesting one, all happening during the pandemic, which was awesome. Right. It brings me to my next point, and I think Dr. Sati touched upon this, which is, EHS is practiced in all firms in some form or the other, right? But many a times top management may think, oh, it's expensive, and they may be asking y'all, hey, how do we control expenditures on this? So Sashi, what are your thoughts? Have you ever faced a situation where you were given a budget, or you're like, okay, keep this below this cost, or I want to know your experience on this.
Right. So basically, yes, for any initiative, I think the question which the management raises is how to optimize the cost. I think one of the very first aspect what we do is we see what process we follow, and we get the process audited itself at the right time, so that we eliminate all the repeated tasks. Now, then I think one of the important element is to prioritize your expenses. Now, EHS will have a lot of expenses to be done. Now we have to prioritize which one is giving you the tangible benefits or the best intangible benefits. I think we'll have to be choosy on that front. And then increasingly, we have to look at digitize and automate our processes, because now EHS or any such activities involve a lot of documentation, data mining. And once if we kind of automate this process, a lot of manual interventions would kind of come out. I think, with these 3 simple odd measures, I think we can definitely bring about control in the cost. And I think definitely we have to go for an EHS budget. Like, a lot of operation and maintenance have their budget, then other projects have their budget. I think definitely it's the high time that, even EHS has its own budget being set up annually.
Excellent point. Dr. Sati, I'm very sure you faced multiple challenges across last few organizations when it came to this convincing management, increasing budgets. What are your thoughts? How was your experience with expenses management and EHS?
So, when it comes to employee health, direct benefits, like giving them a particular facility, say, for example, gym, then it does become a matter of consideration. But by and large, what I've seen is if we be efficient, if we demonstrate our efficiency without compromising the quality of service on the other project that we have done, then the management kind of has more confidence in you to listen to any new proposals that you make, and then they understand the significance of implementing the good health practices. So it is very important that whatever project you have done should be dealt with efficiently without the compromising the quality of the service. Because if you compromise the quality of service, then in some organization you have got employees who are very nosy and picky, and that then becomes a very very awkward situation to face. And the other thing I have seen is the focus should be on the prevention of diseases rather than curative. Because if the focus changes to curative, then the expenditure rises, because at one end you're trying to prevent, and on the other side you are kind of not being very serious about the prevention. People are falling sick in the workplace, and then you spend money on trying to cure them as well. If you give me 2 minutes, I'll just share one experience. When I was working in a remote oil field in Oman, I used to work there a couple of weeks and then come to the city. So once the managing director came for his MDC visit, managing director visit, he saw that our clinic was just seeing around how many 20-25 patients a day, and it was a 4,000 square feet air conditioned building with 6 observation beds, nursing station, pharmacy, doctor's cabin, entertainment room, nurses sleeping quarters, etc., etc. So he says this is an exorbitant cost. I says, no, we do something called as occupational health, where we try to prevent. And I told him, Mr. MD, if you come after about a year, you will see that the number of patients have decreased even further, because the whole idea is to prevent. As an occupational health physician, as a doctor in the industry, I have not been hired here to cure, because that is a service that generally most of the efficient companies outsource. But internally, what they do is they try to influence upon the employees how you can take care of your health, like giving good healthy food in the offices. Like I use the word to stock up healthy things. If you provide junk food to the employees begin to think, oh, this is a normal thing. Some people will argue that they are having 3 meals a day. We are just giving 1 meal. Why focus our energies on trying to give that meal as healthy? No, that's the way you try to influence the employees what it means to be eating healthy food. And I have had the support of most of the MDs or CEOs where I have worked with.
Excellent. Mr. Bhattacharya, what are your thoughts? Have you ever faced this on the client side?
Yeah, absolutely right. What Dr. Ajay said, that occupational health is supposed to be on the preventive front than the curative front. Okay, the investing money for the infrastructure on health, it is actually the beneficial for the company. Why? Because it's not only the soft industries. If you go to the manufacturing industries, okay, high hazard industries, or the construction industries. So if they are paying construction for a occupational disease or the fatal cases, that expenditure will more than the preventive cost. Okay. Then optimization of cost, what Shashi has told, says now every industry is going through this optimization of cost and all. So here comes how best we can convince our management to get the budget. So every December the firefighting is on for the budget and all, and we are concentrating more on the preventive nature. The post allocation, how we are preparing the case studies and all during the budget, and we're trying to convince our management. So these are the preventive measures, or this is the technology cost. This right now the new thing has come, technology cost, okay, platform cost. So these are the things we are briefing them and getting the budget. Now the next thing comes, when the budget comes, then how to allocate those budget and how to control that budget. That is a extremely tricky things. Actually, Shashi has touched upon it. So we have to prioritize actually which is the area the threat level is more, the risk is more, threat level is more, and a potential dangerous situation which I have to mitigate. So there we are allocating this thing, and like this way we are getting the budget and controlling the budget. This is actually the funda.
But I like the concept of showing a case study to them, showing them, hey, last year we did this, and here's the outcome that we got, right? And now that is outcome rather than just the cost.
Yes.
Then I think first things open up a little more.
Right, like Dr. Shakti has mentioned, is a big case study, what he has mentioned. So he is right that actually what the setup for the infrastructure he has provided, maybe next year the patient will be less. That is why, because the preventive nature what he has invested. And had it not been implemented there, the case would have been on the higher stage.
Right.
It could have been a compensation cases. So that is why we are calculating.
Excellent. Yeah.
So yeah, Ashwin,
Sachin,
I also had a similar point, right? Because now when we do an energy efficiency project, it is very easy to prove because we have meters to measure the improvement in the performance. But when it comes to health, it is very difficult to monitor. So periodic feedback from an employee, recording of absenteeism due to ill health, people facing problems such as headache and the other aspect needs to be recorded. And various organization abroad has done this study, and it has been shown that the results are quite encouraging. That if you're working in a green building, then you can say, your employee productivity increases by 16 odd percentage. That's quite a huge number. So imagine you spending on an employee comfort, well-being, health. So it can actually improvise the productivity, and that can actually improve the
Mhm.
direct profit of an organization.
fantastic.
Yes.
So while EHS, we've discussed a lot of things about EHS, and the last one was the budget piece. So when you're introducing new EHS initiatives within the organization, what are the, let's say, top three challenges that you faced? Dr. Sati, will start with you.
So you see, most big businesses will implement safety because any catastrophic unsafe incident is noticed by all, including the employees and the media, and that can cause a reputational issue. So there is a lot of kind of emphasis on safety, but when it comes to health, it is not yet considered as an investment. It is seen as a cost, although it has changed because of the pandemic situation that we recently went through. Now, health effects are very slow to happen and very difficult to pinpoint that they are indeed due to the workplace or the working conditions. Of course, there are ways to find out that, but then most doctors globally, are probably not well trained. There is a shortage of doctors, as I said, and so it becomes a big issue. Additionally, what happens is most doctors, not only in India, but even I have met quite a few doctors uh, from developed countries as well. They don't know the art of influencing the management. It is very important to be able to influence the management, because otherwise that's going to be a big challenge. You're never going to get budgets for any project that you wish to undertake. Then how to go about explaining the significance of implementing these measures. And finally, most important thing is I have seen many a times you get a green signal from the management, but you don't know where to start. And that becomes a big challenge.
Excellent points. Mr. Bhattacharya, what are your thoughts? The
So
top challenges.
challenges are in manifold, Ashwin. See, still in India, still EHS is considered is an advisory service. It's not till now. It is not a mandatory service, and most of the MSME or they do not have their EHS wing till now in India. Till that time, very strong enforcement by the government that you should have a EHS wing with us. But all the other companies, manufacturing, R&D, global, this thing, they do have their EHS. The main challenge is that, see, we can structure the framework. We can go as per the ISO 45001, 14001, whatever it is. The framework is there. We can draft or formulate plan, procedure, policies. Implementation is a big challenge. Okay. And what the challenges we are facing, my experience for last 30 years is actually the challenge is a cultural challenge in India. Okay. I do have a very robust EHS structure with me, a very good framework, all program policies I do have. And trying to implement all these things, but there is a resistance from the other end. So that cultural things is cultural safety is a big barrier right now. And I believe this is only the challenge we do have for implementing any EHS thing in a new concept on a new organization.
I think I remember the last time we spoke, you mentioned that the cultural change is the new barrier. Because everything is green, management has given you green light, we have everything in place, but the teammates for whom you're doing this,
Absolutely.
Understand why if you expect a behavioral change from them, you're not getting that change. So I think that is now, I think, the new barrier.
That is actually the new normal and new barrier for all of us.
Shashi, what are your thoughts on this top three challenges?
I kind of resonate to what Mr. Tushar has already said about. Now, one of the thing is the employee engagement.
Mm.
Now, basically, what we have seen is EHS team only being the most serious one, taking care about the activities. Rest of the employee just participate for the namesake. I think it is very important that everyone should come forward and participate in EHS proactively. Second is the cost optimization. I think we spoke about that some time back. When an organization has to decide cost disbursement, so definitely when EHS comes in equality with some business requirement, then definitely business requirement will get a precedence. And then again, in terms of say executing certain work, so though many organizations follow EHS seriously, but once certain activity has to be delivered in a certain span of a time, so delivery takes precedence, and EHS takes backseat. So undue risk is being taken by the even the topmost organizations. So I think these are the three challenges which we have faced in past.
I think that is absolutely true. So
May I add one thing?
Yeah.
So it is very important for us to be, as Shashi pointed out, that we are serious about our work, but the employees' behavior and the cultural or the mindset is totally different. We need to be able to influence them. I'll give you an example of supposing you want to undertake a first aid training course for the employees. People don't come forward. They are very hesitant. So when you start talking to them, even if you talk to 10 people, because it has got a multiplier effect, you just tell them that this is not, you are not doing it for the employees. When you participate in a first aid course, you learn how to give first aid, and it can be helpful for you in case something happens to your family at home or anywhere else. This goes into their mind, and that is how they actually come forward to very happily to actually do these courses. Otherwise, there is a thought block on undergoing anything that the EHS plans for the employees.
But I think the perspective makes all the difference, right? It's how you put it across to them, how they perceive it, can change the entire game.
Right.
So while we've just touched upon the different challenges, there are a lot of innovations in this space that have already happened in the last 2, 3, 4 years, and some things which are coming up as we speak, and a lot of things which are in the pipeline, right? So, Mr. Bhattacharya, I would like to start with you. What are some of the innovations in this space which are helping minimizing risk, which are helping implement safety protocols, anything in the EHS space, any innovation? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
See, the speedy and intelligent tracking of the risk and mitigation plan with the help of digital platform. This will help to reduce the risk in a systematic or a speedy manner. Now, we have a old thought that IOSH risk management metrics like severity, by probability, these all things we know. But where is the risk level? What is the threat level? Now, what the innovation, what we are thinking, we are slightly deviating from the conventional EHS audit procedures. Now we are integrating this audit procedures into risk assessment concept. Okay. Now, suppose one EHS professional is doing an EHS audit, and let us take Ashin, your EHS officer is doing an audit and coming to you with the audit reports. And he has mentioned that 10, 20 observation. But how do you understand what is the risk level? The non-availability of SOP or the open facade, both the risk is not the same. Okay. So now we have slightly transformed ourselves in an innovative way that we are the conventional audit procedure, we translate it into the risk assessment, and with the help of the digital platform, the moment we'll do the audit, automatically it will go to you with the threat level. So this is a high threat level, medium threat level, or low threat level, potential consequences, and what is the corrective and preventive actions. So we are leveraging the technology. So immediately he need not to write. Okay, we have developed a platform. He need not to write that what are the observation. He will just put tick yes, no, or something he will write. Automatically it will convert to a threat level to you, and it will pop up like a red, amber, or green. So this is the great. This is the innovations we did to eliminate, to understand the risk and how we can mitigate it.
Fantastic. Sashi, any innovations you are seeing already?
Right. Yeah. So there has been a lot of development in the digital front, and I think all these measures are coming on a digital platform. Days, a lot of integrated softwares are coming. So I think on our days where there is a different tools for environment, for health, for safety, for sustainability. So there's a now integrated tools which are available and which has even an analytic thinking in it, so that it predicts what all fault can come, what are the risk an organization can face, and what can be a corrective action. Even we have seen a lot of trends where even the wearable devices, smart devices are coming into picture, wherein even real time monitoring of an activity can be done, and if there are any risks which are anticipated, it can kind of highlight. So yes, I think the next era is going to be a digital front, and it's high time that even the EHS come on the digital platform, which can get a maximum benefit.
Excellent. Dr. Sati, your thoughts?
Yes, I can't agree more. In fact, I have coined a word called virtual occupational health, because we did so many things virtually to, right from ergonomics, right from if supposing there were workplace team coming to the office to tell them what to do, everything was done kind of digitally or online by the online method. We have not used many apps or many tools, but what I realized was that if you have got a good communication skill, and if you can kind of easily convey what you want to do at site to people those who are already there, you need not be there every time. So occasional visit depending upon as appropriate, plus virtual kind of directions, you can achieve almost all what you did uh, during the pre-pandemic era to make the workplace and the working conditions safe for the employee. I mean, we have been able to do occupational health risk assessment also online, mitigate the risks whatever we identified to as low as reasonably practicable by kind of creating charts for health surveillance, monitoring, or even sometimes change or modify the process. We, in fact, even kind of were able to educate the uh, uh, people involved in managing these things at site on the hierarchy of controls. All that, right from elimination to use of personal protective equipment. So it actually seems to be working. And I fully agree with Tushar and Sashi when they say that digital platforms are the new thing that the EHS will be able to kind of manage things easily. And as Tushar pointed out, it is simple. Now you get the threat levels: green, amber, red, and that actually alerts the management much more than you giving them a plain 6-page report.
Or then a score, instead of saying 86%, you can say, hey, 3 red things and 2 amber, and that has a much bigger impact than saying, oh, the score is 86. If somebody
Exactly.
can score 86, well, that sounds pretty good, right? But if it without the threat, it becomes, I mean, you can't decipher 86 could actually be good because the threat was there was just small non-compliances versus there be 3 reds, which could be life-threatening. So
Absolutely.
that was fantastic. So what I have seen over the last 3-4 years, and some of the innovations that we've been able to pull off, right, have been virtual audits. Now, if 4 years ago, if I went to customers, say we're doing a virtual audit, they'll be like, why just send a person? But during the pandemic, we've done lakhs of audits virtually where our auditor was sitting at home or in office, and we've conducted audits across the country by having the on-site person be the auditor's eyes and ears.
Yeah.
Right. So the person cannot write compliant or not compliant. He's submitting the evidence for each of the things. And the auditor remotely is marking as compliant, non-compliance, putting their comments, asking for additional evidence, asking for additional videos, asking for additional photos in real time. Right. So real-time virtual auditing, we were the first companies in India to pull off real-time virtual auditing, and not on a webcam, or so it's not a fixed point. It's a mobile, one or two, and two people on field.
That itself is a great innovation.
So, no, the interesting part was we had pitched this idea to corporates 4 years ago. They said, no, we like a person on ground. You'd rather prefer a person on ground. But now they're actually preferring virtual audits because we can now order a virtual audit in minutes. You don't need to wait days till an audit reaches a site. We can literally, there was a client I sat with at 10 o'clock in the morning. He told me there's a problem at a site. 5 minutes later, the virtual audit started, and at 12 o'clock, he had a comprehensive report on his table, and with evidences of what is happening. He was blown away, right?
Absolutely.
And now, even the threat levels which you're talking about, a lot of automated summaries of audit reports in a way where it is easy to understand the threat and the impact, right, of non-compliances. Right, coming up on the first page, that has become, small. It's a small change, but I think it's a very big impact at the other end.
Absolutely.
Management sees that report, instead of seeing the score is small in the bottom. The threat levels are kind of highlighted. The red amber is highlighted more than the actual score. The score actually is almost secondary, right? So, which was an interesting thing, by the way, which I learned from you, Mr. Bhattacharya. So, thank you for that, right? I think the next point I want to quickly talk about is the lead and well, changes which are happening lead and well, and how are they, contributing to achieve sustainable goals. So, Shashi, I'll start with you. You over here, you're the expert in the field in this. So, what are your thoughts on lead and well? How are they contributing sustainability goal, and what is the right time for a company to pursue lead and well? These are the two questions.
Right. So, I think. When the lead concept started, I think the whole aspect was to bring about sustainability concept in the workspaces and building design. So energy efficiency and water efficiency were the key goals. And project were able to save a good amount of about 20% energy and 50% of water by implementing green strategy. But I think over a period of time, the approach of lead has changed a bit, and now they are focusing on a life cycle approach. So it's no longer just a use of material which has a recycled content, but use of material which has a lower emission. Because I think entire nation is now moving towards a goal of going net zero. And that's a very important aspect what the lead nowadays talk about. Similarly about well, so well is totally a human-centric rating system. It goes beyond the sustainability requirement. So it talks about what quality of lighting needs to be provided, what nutrition level, how to improve emotional well-being of a human, how to provide daylight, and various other aspects which directly impacts a human. So all these improves the human productivity by 16%. So I think both lead and well together in an integrated manner can help an organization grow by leap and bounds. Now, at what stage? So basically, project can or a space can take up this program at any time. Actually, the ideal aspect would be to start at the design stage, but even the operational buildings can now take up the LEED certification or a well certification program to an existing building rating system. So only the criteria changes a bit, but there is a good amount of the benefit which the projects can get.
So, misnomer that I heard, or a myth that I heard, is only new projects can be LEED or well certified. So that would be incorrect.
Right. So the best aspect is now for the existing stock to take the certification program, because they are the ones who consume a lot of energy. New buildings definitely have a good new systems which are efficient, but imagine buildings which are more than 10 years old. So they are consuming far more. So I think implementing a sustainable strategies or a LEED certification program there will impact a lot. And even in the older buildings, we do not have a fresh air system. We do not have a proper filtration mechanism. So imagine a people suffering there. So I think the impact, the delta improvement will be quite good even in the existing building. And yes, it is very much possible.
Dr. Sati, what are your thoughts on how do LEED and well contribute to sustainability goal and health goals?
Yeah, they definitely do by creating a healthier space for the occupants of the building. What earlier was probably also called as sick building syndrome, the sickness of the building is basically taken care of. Yeah. So the offices are, kind of designed to provide the employees or the occupants with healthy and comfortable indoor environment. And there are some measures that actually help, like Shashi just pointed out, provision of fresh air quantity and filtration mechanism. That is very important. The offices could be ergonomically designed so that the workstations and seating facilities are comfortable, and that removes the fatigue from the employees. Acoustic measures, so if there is too much noise, that also can be managed by minimizing, by implementing acoustic measures and use of low emitting materials. Then one more thing that has come up is access to natural daylight and some external views. I was reading an article. Google years ago, they actually brought goats into their compound so that people could actually watch the goats eat the grass, as a part of just a refreshing uh, thought or
Yes.
sight. Yeah. So that is what, and this happened almost about a decade ago. Just imagine, we in India yet have to bring goats so that we can see them from our office windows. Then use of eco-friendly materials by using products which have low environment impacts and low carbon emissions, because this is also a very important buzzword these days, low carbon emissions. And last but not the least, use products which have higher recycled content, products which do not have harmful emissions which impact health. And last is use of low volatile organic compound products, because these are volatile and these can be easily inhaled and over a period of time can have some health effects.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mr. Bhattacharya, what are your thoughts
See,
on?
absolutely. To your question, certainly, lead and will definitely certification contribute to achieve the sustainable goals. I remember one thing, so Dr. Sati told, that sick building syndrome. So since the beginning of my career, I was working for a manufacturing company. So if someone is getting cough and cold, so doctor used to, I still remember, doctor used to ask the first question, did you sit on that building? He said, yes, then you are caught with the cough and cold. Okay, so that building atmosphere or aroma surrounding like this, if somebody is sitting for 8 to 10 hours or so, definitely you will get the cough and cold. Okay, so now the situation has changed to bring it the sick, to get rid of the sick building system. Now companies are proudly announcing that our building is a LEED certified, that leadership in energy and environment design. So certainly it is not only your sustainable planning and site development. It is, of course, water savings, energy efficiency, material selection also come to effort. So I agree with Shashi also. Certainly, it is contributing for the sustainable goal of an organization.
That's it.
A lot of new technologies will also come up. Now, you might have heard a concept of circadian lighting. A light changes color depending upon the external environment. So, it was something which was just as a concept, but nowadays even various workspaces have started implementing that. So basically, at a different time of a day, our mind react to a particular light, and imagine an internal lighting simulating those conditions. So likewise, a lot of new concept and technologies have been coming up, and these certification programs are kind of driving those technologies.
So correct. So Ashin, you have to excuse me because I have a hard stop at 3:58 because I have a global call at 4 o'clock. So thank you very much for this discussion, and Dr. Shati and Dr. Shashi. Thank you very much for enriching us actually.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tushar. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
I have one last question for Dr. Sati and Shashi. What kind of, so when we look at EHS, when we look at sustainability, when we look at lead and well, what kind of testing is required to be able to certify, get their requirements in place? Dr. Sati, let's start with you.
So we take up individual, kind of things, whatever we want to kind of monitor, and we seek an assurance, in whatever. We might say that, we are compliant now, but how do you kind of, you don't have to prove to anybody, but you just have to convince yourself, yeah, fine, I did this and this is now, compliant. The office is really now improved in terms of be it air quality, be it food quality, be it water that we are providing to the employees. So what we do is we seek a third party uh, 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 assurance, because we don't do that in-house. So that because at the end of every quarter or end of every 6 months, we actually share these employees with the management and with the employees also in a very subtle way that, we did this and this is what our findings were. These are areas of improvement and we have already implemented that. We will wait for the outcomes to be seen in the next few months. So that is what we actually do.
Excellent. Rashid, what are your thoughts?
So, yeah. So as far as the testings are concerned, I think performance testing of all the equipments are quite mandatory, because these equipments are designed to deliver certain level of performance. And if they are not tested, all the automated controls, all the performance strategy, so the desired benefit will not be achieved. So apart from that, there's an increasingly need of testing air quality, even acoustic testing throws a lot of insight, even water testing. So we have seen even the problems like Legionella coming out by testing of water, ambient air quality also, because before designing any filtration for a workspace, it is better to understand what kind of air quality actually exists outside in the ambient atmosphere, so that accordingly you can design a right set of filters and provide right strategies can be decided. So yeah, so I think these are some of the minimum tests what would be recommended for any projects to actually go for EHS or any kind of certification program.
Over the last decade, the indoor air quality numbers have skyrocketed. Over the last 5-6 years, ambient air quality, as you correctly said, has skyrocketed, because any kind of intervention you want to do on air quality in-house, inside, is affected by the air quality outside, right? So what kind of filters to put, how much, or how much fresh air, what are all those factors are affected. So now doing this on a regular basis has become almost the norm for the industry, right? And the new thing now is the acoustic testing. So in the last 2-3 years, that business has almost like gone up like 10-20 times than what it was earlier. Earlier, it was maybe 1 or 2 or 3 clients once in a year who used to kind of look. Now it is, those numbers are in double, triple digits every month, right? So that has been a very, very big change. And I think it's because of lead and well. Most people who are looking at lead and well are looking at this, right? So now I'm going to actually turn to questions from the audience. So these are my questions. So thank you for answering those. So one question I'm getting is, green buildings are the new normal. How soon can companies adopt or implement this? You want to?
Sorry, Ashwin, I kind of missed that question.
Sorry. So the question was, green buildings are the new normal. How soon can a company adopt or implement this? So if you decide to adopt, how quickly can you adopt green building initiatives or green building certification?
Yeah, so I think it's never too late to adopt a green certification program. So whether your project is under design stage or it's an operational stage, we have to see certain minimum requirements are being met or not. And once your minimum requirements are met, then you can definitely go for a green certification program. So there are certain minimum requirements with respect to energy performance, water consumption criteria, and the air quality and the fresher requirements. So we have to ensure that these requirements are met. And once we are comfortable with this, you can proceed with a certification program.
Fantastic. The next one is, I think it's for me. It says, Ashwin, are you using a standing desk? If yes, that's great. Is that being provided as a contemporary workplace is a strong point for EHS? So Preeti, yes, I am using a standing desk, and this is something I started at the beginning of the pandemic and has helped me tremendously. Dr. Sati, I'm going to lean on you on this. Do you think standing desks help at the workspace, or are they just a fad? Please don't say they're a fad, because I've been using them for 2 years.
No, it definitely helps, because it helps you to change your posture more than anything else.
Okay.
When you stand, you are burning 20% more energy. So you also, kind of tend to lose weight.
I know I did.
So it is a win-win if you actually
It is.
occasionally stand and work. But my only suggestion will be, or my only advice will be that don't just continuously stand and work, because that may not be good for your legs in the long run.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I take a break every 4 hours for half an hour. Is that advisable, or should it be more often?
Probably it should be more often.
More often, okay. I'll take your advice on that. So I'm not considering started doing it. So
you can just bring it down a bit after about an hour or so. Yeah.
Done. Okay. So the next question is from Narendra. Says, nowadays the term ESG is coming up and corporates are moving towards it. And is it a point of discussion, or can we have a little explanation? So can you explain what is ESG, and can either of you take that one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So when we talk about ESG, so it is a kind of new reporting mechanism which is going to come up. It's a kind of a disclosure mechanism. It's a combination of environment, social, and governance. So under environment, basically you're talking about how you're utilizing your resources, how are you optimizing, how are you measuring it. Under social, how your company with the activities impacting the social aspects around your society. And then under governance is basically what kind of protocols or policies you follow. So basically it is going to be a mandate for 1,000 listed company to come up and provide an ESG reports. So the old now BRSR or CSR reports, what we were seeing, will be replaced by an ESG reports. So now increasingly a lot of work is happening in terms of ESGs, where all of these concepts are integrated. We spoke about EHS, we spoke about sustainability, green building, wellness. So all those things will be combined along with the sustainability development goals and will be coming up together in an ESG report.
Fantastic. So there's a question.
So that's it.
Yeah. So there's a question from Murtaza saying, what are tangible and intangible parameters in terms of outcome, which could help management decide to undertake employee health and wellness programs? It's an interesting question. Dr. Sati, you want to take a stab at that one? Tangible and intangible parameters, outcomes?
So, tangible outcome, most importantly, is when you do a preventative check. People often say, why should you be doing an annual health check or a periodic health check? It may not be annual, depending upon the age group and the past history of the employee. It can be staggered in terms of the number of years that you can, do the next one. But if you don't do it, you are in the dark. When you do tests, any test, I'm just giving an example of an annual health check. When you do these tests, only then you come to know that there is a problem. And when you come to know the problem, earlier, it is far more easier to manage it than if you come to know the problem when it is late. For example, an employee is working, typing every day. There is no kind of ergonomic program in the office that he or she is working. At the end of a couple of months, he or she starts getting pain in the wrist. Now, this has been a very insidious thing. It took a couple of months to develop the carpal tunnel syndrome. And I tell you, carpal tunnel syndrome can be so bad at times that it has incapacitated people permanently. Even after surgery, sometimes people don't recover fully. So the magic here is to implement a workstation ergonomic program. And these days, there are so many online softwares. You just have to tell the employees that this is a software. Just click the link, undergo the online assessment, see what are the outcomes, work on those outcomes. If you cannot work it, there is a workplace team which will help you. There are doctors who will help you. And that is how you can, kind of maintain your. So this is very, very important to be proactive in when you actually manage your health. The other bit, I'll just take half a minute. The other bit that what we learned from the pandemic was comorbidities management. Many must not have heard this word comorbidity before the pandemic, but pandemic has made many of the words very common, one of which is comorbidity. Comorbidity is basically something that is associated with the illness that you are currently suffering. So if somebody is having fever, the comorbidity could be your diabetes, could be your hypertension, could be your kidney disease, could be your heart disease. So you have to know about this thing. Obesity, for example. So if you know only, you will be able to manage. And what we saw was that people, those who had comorbidities, were the victims of a more serious disease. Always remember one thing: if you are physically fit, you will be able to fight a new disease far more better than what if you are not even fit before the disease struck. Be it cancer, be it heart disease, be it any major surgery, or be it COVID.
Excellent point. All right. We have, I think we'll make this the last question from Manish, which says, how do you adopt new technologies for an own building? Sashi, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So I think whenever any new technology come up in the market, one of the very important aspect is to understand the impact and the benefit of those technology. And where you're getting the benefit, whether it is the benefit, tangible benefit in terms of energy or savings or any of those aspects, or intangible benefits. So accordingly, you can kind of take a call. I think before implementing any new technology, it is very important to have a lot of trial runs, because unless you implement those trial runs and do those mock-ups, it will be very difficult. From an engineering background, I think operation and maintenance is a very important any technology for which operation and maintenance becomes challenging. I think these are some of the aspects which I could suggest we should look in for implementing any new technologies.
Fantastic. All right. I think that we've gone over our time just a little bit, but I think it was fantastic. I love the insights that all three of you shared. Thank you for taking out the time and giving so generously a lot of candid advice, a lot of practical advice. Right. Thank you, Dr. Sati. You've been a friend, a philosopher for a long time, and a guide for a long time to me and to Equinox. So thank you for that. And thank you, Sashi, for taking out the time and giving us expert advice on such a vast topic and making it easy and giving practical tips for people to implement. Because for me, I attend a lot of webinars, a lot of trainings. For me, if I attend training and if I've not written down anything like an actionable, then I feel, hey, I should have invested my time somewhere else. So anytime I do trainings, I always try and ensure that's the reason we bring experts, right? Or if we do it internally, we make sure we have experts who are delivering the training so that there's practical advice that can be shared that people can take home. So for everyone in the audience today, if you learned something new, maybe just one thing, and if you want to make this 1 hour that you spent with us count, and you want to have a larger impact on the world, take that one little thing, go back to your home, go back to your organization and implement it. And I think you will get 100-fold back than what you invested here. Right. So once again, thank you, Dr. Sati. Thank you, Sashi. And I'm hoping to have you guys on a similar platform again soon.
Thank you, Ashwin. Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks, audience.
Thanks.
And the people in the audience, you're only getting a survey when you all shut this webinar. Do take the time out, and it will take 30 seconds to fill it up. But it helps me and the team curate better content and have it delivered in a better way. So that feedback is always appreciated. All right. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.